Alright, so that boy Cole Bennett turned down a huge bag, I think at the age of 20 years old. He explained more on this at Comic Con that recently was held, I think this past weekend. Okay, it's your boy Dwayne on Blaze. This video is by Hello Yassine. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go.
A few years ago, you revealed that you walked away from a $30 million offer for Lyrical Lemonade.
Crazy.
Do you still feel as resolute about that decision? And have you been offered other opportunities to sell the business?
I don't know if I could walk away from 30 mil.
Oh, I feel better about passing on that money more than ever. I think if I would have taken $30 million at age 20, I couldn't even legally drink. I think it would have been ugly. I think I wouldn't have known what to do. I don't think I was mature enough to handle that.
Yeah, 30 million at age 20. I'm going off the rails. Give me 30 M's at age 20. I wouldn't be here right now making this video for sure.
And thank God I was so rooted in like my values and what I stood for at the time, because I did saying no. I kind of puffed my chest when I did it, actually. But you know, there's been times as I've gotten older where I'm like, damn, that 30 mil would have looked nice, you know. but I believe in the fact that you know, if we're talking money here, I believe that comes when it's supposed to come, at the amount it's supposed to come, when it's supposed to come, and you just got to believe in that. So yeah, there's been different you know, companies and people that have come and wanted to buy the company, or you know, build out whatever they envisioned, and it's very flattering, you know. And at some point,
but I don't think it would have become the company it is today if he did sell it at 20 years old. I think it's a legacy thing now. I mean, the SoundCloud era goes hand in hand with Lyrical Lemonade, bro, in terms of the visuals.
there might be a fit, right? But it's about finding.
So here, we have to keep in mind, Cole Bennett right now, he's 29, 30, around there. I think he's 96, so he's 29. And 9 years ago, that's 2016. So he said it was before he turned 21. So that means it was 2016, before May of 2016. And he was on a run at this point in time. But it wasn't like 2018, which was post Lil Skies and all that. It was still on the uptick. So the fact that he was offered $30 million is mind-blowing. They really saw the vision, and they saw where Lyrical Lemonade could go. And Lyrical Lemonade as a brand right now is worth far more than that. Just because, like, some people will say, like, yo, Lyrical Lemonade doesn't really have, like, the pull it once had. No, actually, you're just remembering nostalgia. Lyrical Lemonade as a brand right now is bigger than it was, and that's a topic for the main channel, actually, that I still have to write up.
That is very true, though. Lyrical Lemonade, you know, they might not have the mainstream appeal as they once used to, but the brand itself has been built to a point where its value is still something of substance. You know what I'm saying? It's not that it's just fallen to the wayside now just because they're not breaking the hottest artists anymore. They're not spearheading a wave like the SoundCloud era or anything like that, but the brand still has value in it. You know, and Cole has done so well at building that brand value.
Will get written. It's not one of those things where I say, oh, that's a topic for another day, and that day never comes. But at that time, he had the blog. It was lyricallemonade.com, and he also had the music videos, and he had just gotten on about a year ago, 2015, a year prior. 2015 was when I first found out about Lyrical Lemonade, and it was via Soulja Boy. It was Soulja Boy and Famous Dex. Famous Dex was on a crazy run with Laka Films, and then he linked up with Famous Dex, and then I believe Famous Dex linked him up with Soulja Boy in LA.
Yo, Laka Films. I remember always watching music videos and seeing Laka Films, boy.
Recorded a music video for both of them, and they dropped within like the next 2 weeks.
Online.
And then from there, he was knocking it out of the park. Then, you know, there was like the little pumps and all that stuff that started happening afterwards. So to be 20 years old and to get offered, and keep in mind, he probably just started making hella bread, and to get offered that much money at 20 years old, it's like, yo, you're on top of the world. You made it. It's like, yo, startup founders don't be getting offered this much at 20 years old. Maybe like when they're 22. Probably Facebook. He probably got offered that much when he was 20, or no, maybe even younger, or maybe he was offered more. But regardless,
yeah, he was probably 22. Mark Zuck was probably 22. Well, I mean 20 years old, because he was in college or varsity at the time. I think he went for 1 year, so he might have been like 19, 20, somewhere around there.
It was 2016 30 M's, not 2025 30 M's. 2025 30 M's feels like 2016 8 to 10 M's. I mean, if we're just being real, right? Like how many times do you hear
Inflation,
100
boy.
million? Like you hear Kai Cenat is up 100 million plus, and you think to yourself,
Damn!
that's up 100 million. You used to hear 100 million, and it was only associated with people like Lil Wayne and Birdman and Kanye West
Kai got 100 M's? That boy eating.
and Jay-Z and the top of the top of the top of echelon. Now it's like 100 million. I would say 350 million back then is the new billion, because you just hear everybody's a billionaire now. But we're not going to talk about this,
not everybody.
how inflation feels based off of vibes. But I think
Not
we
me.
saw a lot of foresight in Cole Bennett with that type of answer, because a lot of people will be like, yo, just take the money. And also keep in mind, this is before Summer Smash, because some people will probably be like, well, if they're getting Lyrical Lemonade, they're also going to get the licensing or whatever to Summer Smash, which is the annual festival that Lyrical Lemonade has every year. And that's a huge festival that obviously brings in a lot of income. It's not like Rolling Loud, in that Rolling Loud was in multiple cities throughout the year, and since they sold, they've expanded globally damn near. With I think they got the Asia Festival. I'm saying I think they got, like, I haven't been to one of them. They've got one in Europe. And
Yeah, that shit is everywhere. It's in Portugal. I think it's in Japan. I think it's in Spain too. Yo, Rolling Loud going crazy. They must come to South Africa though, bro. Why isn't there a Rolling Loud Cape Town? Come through, pull up.
And I think they've had the Canada one, and I don't know if they've got one in. Did they have one in Brazil? I'm not sure. I haven't checked out on that yet. I know they have one in Portugal, but
Yeah.
that was 2018 that Summer Smash started. So when he got this offer, and that was with Speaker Box, I think it's in partnership, so they do all the event production. I'm guessing Lyrical Lemonade does like the licensing, of course, and 2018 was the right time to start it. But now it's a staple. Every single year it happens. So this was pre-2018, pre-Lyrical Lemonade Summer Smash, and they offered him that much, and he still turned it down. And he probably didn't touch 30 M. Well, we don't know. We don't know what's in his pockets. But if that,
Yeah, I don't think that Cole has 30 M's, bro. Maybe about half of that. Maybe 10 to 15 M's. Maybe. I don't think Cole... Yo, I don't know about 50 M's, bro.
it probably didn't happen for a long time.
Well, 30
and
M's.
and I think part of that deal would have to be that he would be involved for an extended period of time. Because, for instance, Dana White and the UFC. Dana White sold the UFC, but part of him selling it is that he has to remain as like president or the face of the brand for a certain amount of years. Because when you really think about it, you think UFC, it's tied to Dana White. That UFC is Dana White. And if somebody else came in, you would be like, who would even replace Dana White? It'd probably have to be like, it would have to be like, what, Joe Rogan, DC? Like those are the only other big names where you're like, these guys are such huge draws. Like, who are they going to throw in there? Like the NBA, I think the NBA stood alone as a brand for a while. Although David Stern, like when David Stern got replaced with Adam Silver, it did become a little bit like, like I still don't see Adam Silver as like the commissioner of the NBA. But
that head is clean, boy. Cleanly, freshly shaven.
Just because like a year or two after he came in is when I started to pay a lot less attention to it. So with that deal, he probably would have had to operate it for longer. And then I think that's what makes some people fall out of love with it potentially. We don't know the details of the deal, but I think he would have had to be a part of it because Mr. Beast, who got offered, I think he said a couple $100 million or $1 billion years ago for, I don't know who was going to buy it, but he said that, he would have to be operating the brand or the face of the brand for X amount of years while they figured out, okay, how do we transition this asset so it doesn't tank?
It's like Dana White in the UFC. It's very hard to transition without Dana.
Slowly transition him out because if they just remove him, it's going to tank because so much of it relies on the front-facing individual. But what Cole Bennett said was he was excited that he didn't take that deal, and he showed a lot of restraint. And also, like, when somebody's 20, he said, 20, if I had that amount of money, I don't even know if I'd be here right now. Or like, that's the vibe that I got from it. You're 20, you're popping. You're kicking it with all the rappers. What was going on at 2016, 17, 18? Now, we don't know Cole Bennett to be doing.
Remember, that was like the Zanny wave. That was the Perky wave. The lean codeine. That was what was going on back then.
Indulging in certain activities, certain recreational drugs. We don't know that. But there's a lot of temptation when you're up 30 M's, richer than every rapper that you worked with, and you're hanging out with all the rappers. What do you do with your time? You're not as motivated to build this thing because you just got cashed out a big bag for it.
Well, that depends on the person also. I think it also depends on the type of person you are, because some people, bro, they could have 30 M's, but they can't stop operating. You know, they still do what they love doing every single day, regardless of the money, just because they have the passion and they have the drive and the dedication to do it. You know, some people, yeah, they get the bag and they feel like, okay, well, I'm rich. Why do I need to do anything else? So what do I do? You know, some people also have that mentality, but there is that fine line, you know, because you can't say everybody who got that amount of money at a young age would just crash out. Most likely, yes, but it's also the type of person you are.
So that motivation isn't there. And there's this sweet spot on the seesaw of amount of money. Like, for example, people.
Yeah, and passion. Sorry to stop again. And just the passion also. Some people are just passionate about shit, and money can't change their passion towards it.
That are struggling, like if someone is under financial stress and they don't have a high income or even a moderate income, that is a very, very bad place to be. And a lot of people will be like, yo, you know, like if I was in a better financial position, it would be great. Sure. But there's also the end of having too much money that there isn't that much of a motivation to work for the purpose of money, because you're like, yo, nothing I do is going to get me a bag like this.
Exactly. And that's where your passion will come into play now, because if it's just about the money, then everything you do is going to be empty if you're rich, because you're like, well, I've got the money, so why am I doing this?
So there's a sweet spot of kind of being drip fed. So at this point in 2017, 16, Cole Bennett probably didn't have any financial stress. I don't think he had a huge team yet. So everything was covered. He probably had more money than he even knew what to spend with. So more money wasn't going to save him. It could only really hurt him. And 30 M's is
Money Can't Save Me. What a nice song by Nanette. Go check that out.
such a big number that you're better off at that age, slowly, incrementally gaining like happiness gains from your work and getting paid more and more, a little bit, than just getting hit with this gigantic injection of cash. Because you're feeling like you're getting rewarded in proportion to how hard you're working versus what else was he going to do. And I think he hit the end game where it was like, yo, I love creating these videos. I love working with the artists that I want to work with. I love doing everything about this. Why would I sell it and then have to stop doing that?
Exactly. That's where the passion is.
If I sell it, then I don't even feel like there's any room for growth from here because I sold it and I'm just working as like an employee when I built this thing by my own hands. And I think it would be really painful if you sell something like this and it gets turned into something else that you never wanted it to be. And then it's just like, wow.
Kind of like what almost happened to FaZe. Like when FaZe was bought out, it just kind of fell off.
20 years old is really, really young. And Cole Bennett is still really, really young. He's not even 30 years old yet. And to kind of have that mindset at 20 years old, I think is what allowed him to survive in comparison to every other videographer. Think about every videographer that came out before Cole Bennett that they had more subscribers than Cole Bennett at a certain time. And some that even came out after Cole Bennett they were pretty talented as well. Yet they're not here anymore. They haven't built a brand nearly as big. They haven't even built a sustaining brand, I should say, because like big is relative. There's a reason why he's still here. And
exactly. I was gonna say legacy. That's what happens when you keep your own creative property or intellectual property and you don't sell it out for a buck, because you can make it something way bigger than anybody else could have ever imagined. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Cole did. And yes, they're not at the top of the mainstream or in the mainstream eye as much as they used to be when they were in their golden era, but there's so much value in the brand Lyrical Lemonade. And now, you know, it comes down to a thing where you would rather build a business that could make you 30 M's a year or maybe make you 10 M's a year rather than sell it out one time for 30 M's. And then you have to now figure out how you're going to build something else as great as that, you know. Whereas now you have 10 million every single year for the rest of your life, or at least for maybe the next 10 years, next 20 years, rather than just taking 130 million. You know what I'm saying? So 10 times, 10? That's 100 million you make, you know, when you could have just taken a 30 million bag. And it's like, yo, luckily he held on to that 100 M's, if you know what I'm saying. So that's how you got to look at it at the end of the day. Sometimes the value that is given to you right now might be the value of your business right now, right? But in 10 years, your business could be worth 100, 150 million. And you could be making that 150 million in profit throughout the years rather than just taking a small 30 million and that's done. You're done. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I see it. Shout out to Cole for making smart decisions with his money, because a lot of people would have taken that money, bro. A lot of people would have taken that money, you know, and spent that shit and just invested in the wrong things and try to build another business and try and do this, try and do that, help they, oh, bro. And then his passion might have died when he sees that I sold my business, but I spent nights up, late nights, going hard, editing, cooking, creating, all for me to sell it and now have only this paper value and nothing else left, you know, because that could also pull you into a depressed sort of space. And then you're now prohibited, or you're now you have like a mental block now to even make millions, because now you feel like, damn, I sold out. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my take on it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out hella, you're seeing your boy Dway's on Blaze. Yes, sir.